formerly the Vice President of Innovation at Adidas Wearables, but he's now working in smart textiles. So please welcome Dr. Hassonjee.
Between my talk and lunch, so I totally understand that. And I'll try to breeze through that, and then I'll be there for the rest of the day and tomorrow if there are any follow-ups or questions to that, right? So I'm going to talk slightly differently about IoT, but more in terms of our IoT that's affecting things in the home. And within that, there's a lot of things that are happening in the home today or is going to happen in terms of smart homes, in terms of different IoT things connected. Within that scope of home, I'm going to specifically talk about textiles and more so about home textiles. So my talk is going to be more about how home textiles are becoming smarter and what's happening now and some of the examples that are out there today, right? So particularly for smart textiles, we are looking at this intersection of textiles and technology, which has been going on for a while, and I'll give you a quick history about that. But the key thing is, like textiles, we are used to it for centuries. We wear them, we sit on them, we walk on them, we sleep on them. And electronics and technology are becoming very ambient in our day-to-day lives also. So how do we bring that together to bring new experiences between the two of those? Just some information about smart textiles, and that market continues to grow and evolve. I mean, there's a projection that it's going to be over $8 billion market. And if you look at different sectors that is going to impact, this home and lifestyle is going to be one of the bigger ones that is going to be very impactful in there. And within that, if you look at more closely, then you can see that how we are looking at particularly smart textiles, not wearables, but smart textiles, and the opportunity to grow in there, in clothing, but also beyond clothing as well. And then there are, as I was mentioning earlier also, there are some key trends that are going on that actually promote the use and growth of smart textiles as well, right? Particularly in terms of the wearable electronics market, as electronics and wearables come together. That is the field that I've been on for the last couple of decades, and I'll tell a little bit more about how it is evolving. Okay? But then you also see how electronics are getting more and more ambient, the miniaturization of electronics, and the ability to put them together and get some more valuable information out of what you wear or what you have textiles in your daily lives. There is a lot of activity going on. I mean, we've been part of this thing for quite some time, and this is just a snapshot of actually when we were at CES, Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas in January. I had one of our team members say, like, just go and walk around and see how much of there is wearable or smart textile related exhibits in Consumer Electronics Show. I'm assuming some of you or most of you were there. And this was a quick snapshot in terms of looking at how many different players are there. So it's a pretty interesting field, and a lot of players in there. And there's a lot of activity that's going on in that. So these are just a couple of quick slides in terms of giving you a quick overview in terms of how this thing has evolved, the evolution of smart textiles. And I'm going to use the example of phones, for example, or radio communication that we are more familiar with. So a lot of it started in the late 80s, early 90s, and at that time, DuPont was one of the key players in there as well. So if you're familiar with DuPont and textiles, DuPont is the one who invented nylon a number of years ago, then polyester, and then Lycra, and Nomex, and Kevlar. And DuPont was looking to see, like, what is the next evolution of textiles? And that is where some of the initial ideas of smart textiles and bringing electronics and textiles came together. And that is where I got involved and associated with smart textiles. And that, as it continued to evolve further, we were now looking at bringing electronics and apparel together. And you could now see some products that are out there. We ourselves spun out of DuPont as a smart textile company called Textronics. And we, for example, in 2005, launched the first smart heart rate monitoring sports bra and shirt. So it had textile sensors built into it. For an athlete, it would tell you what your heart rate is. It would tell you what your speed you were running at and give you more information. That worked out fairly well. As a result of that, Adidas bought our company, and we became part of Adidas in sports, and that is where I was for the next 6, 7 years, looking at smart textiles, particularly in sports. And that evolution continues to go on. I mean, and the apparel and smart apparel continues to evolve, and there are a lot of companies who are doing that. Just more recently, in the last year or so, I looked at the opportunity in terms of non-apparel textiles, and it was more around textiles that you do not necessarily wear, so it's not so much wearable, but you're still in contact with it all the time because you are either sleeping on it, you're walking on it, you're sitting on it. I mean, you have towels and things like that that you use all the time. And how can you then use that and bring electronics together and make something more meaningful in our daily lives? Okay. So that is where Tilt came about, right? Tilt is looking at smart home textiles and how do you take these textiles that you take it for granted. It is a utility, it does what it does. How can you make something more out of it? How can you bring new experiences out of it, right? And Tilt is actually part of a company called Wellspun Group. Wellspun is about a $2.5 billion company, which has 3 different sectors. One of them is home textiles. And it's a global company, and it has actually some products probably in Australia also. I'm part of the home textile business, which is looking at sort of how do you take home textile to smart home textiles. And Wellspun is the leader in home textiles, close to about $1 billion business. 70% of that is the US business, but it is all regular home textile business. It's all through retail private label. And then 20% in Europe and 10% of the rest of the world, including in Australia as well. And what does home textile mean? This is what home textile, like all the bedding products like sheets and comforters and blankets, and then it has all the furniture, upholstery products, it has towels, it has bath rugs. And all of those are part of home textile. And that is what we're looking to see. How can you bring technology into it to bring new innovation and new experiences out of it? Okay? And particularly, Wellspun is a great player for this thing because they are vertically integrated. If you have a very fragmented chain, then it becomes that much more difficult to manage that. And that is the beauty of it. That's why there's a big company who's supporting this smart home textile development part of it. Yeah. This is our key mission in terms of for Tilt, which is take smart textiles, take home textiles, put some technology into it, and bring some magical moments out of those textiles for it. And I'll explain to you a little bit how we're doing that. We are looking at the intersection of home textiles, which is a fairly big market. We don't necessarily pay attention to it. Honestly, I didn't pay attention to it about a year or so ago. And then the integration of technology into home textile makes it that much more interesting because when we were working on textile and apparel and technology, there are certain limitations, right? First of all, apparel is something that you wear, right? Above all, you want it to look good. It has to have the right color, it has to have the right fit, it has to have the fashion, so you need to make sure that is there. The fact that it is a wearable and you're moving around, you have to manage power very carefully, because you don't want a big lump of battery and that obstructs what you do, so that's not going to work very well. And so you got to work around that. And those are some of the things that are not as many challenges in home textiles. And the third thing is, like apparel, you definitely want to make sure that you wash it every day or very often. Home textiles do get washed, but not as often as the apparel part of it. And electronics typically do not like water, right? I mean, you don't want to put them in a washing machine. They don't like it. They scream and yell about it, and they stop working, right? So you have to make sure that you bring that together. And home textile actually offers you more degrees of freedom in doing that. And that is what we're looking at. How do you take home textiles, embed technology in it, and bring new experiences in home, new experiences in healthcare, new experiences in hospitality, in industry. So we're looking at all different applications for that. And the way we work is we are trying to leverage all the things that we can get out of a parent company for home textiles. But then we are working a lot with partners, right? So we're working with a lot of partners. We have some in-house technology that I'll show you a little bit about, but then we're working with a lot of partners in the technology space. We have relationships with, for example, MIT Media Lab and Intel and other companies, which is their strength. We have found partners who can help us more in the consumer research, the market research, the analysis part of it. And then finally, in terms of making sure that we've got the right skill base to create the right the designs, create the right illustrations so that it makes the users like it, right? And then enjoy the technology as part of it as well. Okay. So taking some of this thing, we actually launched our first product called Pintails. That was launched last November, just before the Christmas holiday season. And that was the first smart home textile application that has been out there that we know of. And it takes our regular home textiles and brings a new experience that I will describe in a minute. Actually, the best way to describe that is play this quick video. So what we have done here is like, let her blow that out. So what we have done here is like we've taken regular textiles that kids are used to, right, on their beds, right? The duvet cover, in this example, it's a duvet cover, right? And taken augmented reality, digital printing technology, brought it all together for just kids to enjoy, right? Or get them into the bed soon, fast enough so that actually they can go to bed then early, right? The other product that we did was... So this product is a rug. It's like a play rug. You see that in the house. You see that in the kid's bed. You see that in your living room. And we've digitally printed some images on it and stories on it. And they come to life using our app and augmented reality. So we have taken the two products, a regular duvet, did digital printing on it, did imaging on it. It's a full story. It has 3 different stories. It has the classical Red Riding Hood story that you might remember. It has the 3 Little Pigs story, and it has the Jack and the Beanstalk story. What we do there is like take these classical stories, and kids, I mean, like it or not, they're going to have a lot of screen time somehow or the other. They have access to parents' iPads or tablets. And instead of they just using the screen, we have tried to bring digital and physical worlds together for them. So they have some more activity. They are playing around with that. And they are actually having fun and enjoying it, as well as at the same time learning about it, right? And the tilt to these stories are, for example, Red Riding Hood, right? So it's not the big bad wolf who's going after Red Riding Hood. The big bad wolf really likes the cookies, right? So we've done some twist to these classical stories to make it more friendly and for the kids to enjoy. And we've added activities to it as well so that kids can learn as well, right? Same thing on the jungle rug. So it's based on the Jungle Book, the jungle rug theme, where we created stories. And we are now teaching the kids more about jungle themes, right? So they play on this mat. They learn more about the jungle. They learn more about the animals, what they do. It's like some other activities in coloring. My favorite part of that is like all the jungle animals do yoga, and the kids start doing yoga. So there is some physical activities that is associated with these stories that they go along. And the nice thing about that is like we've created this app, and the app and all these stories come for free once you get the duvet or the rug. And we continue to update the digital content so it does not become stale, and then kids go back to it again and continue to enjoy what they have, right? So this just shows a little bit about the media reception of that. as I mentioned, we just launched it in November. Then we were at the Consumer Electronics Show. Then we were at the New York Toy Fair last month. And it's just gratifying to see how the people are perceiving it, the media is perceiving it, and we hope to continue to build on that. This is some more about how the media are looking at it. I mean, we like this whole tagline saying it's like the next revolution in storytelling. So that's what's been talked about, and we continue to build on top of that. And we're doing most of the, we've launched it on a digital platform using social media, digital marketing, and now we're getting into stores as well, so at retail stores as well. So that's available on our website. We're looking right now to see how we expand distribution beyond the US. And then we want to continue this journey, right? So this is all about home textiles and technology coming together. So our next foray is into building more educational material, more fun material, and you'll see more of that coming together. And as we look into beyond this entertainment and kids, there are some neat spaces in terms of health and well-being, right? That you use home textiles for in-home, but also in institutions. And how can we embed technology so that it gives you more information, keeps you comfortable, makes you either healthier or looks after your well-being. Then there is this opportunity in industries, in institutions, including hospitals, healthcare facilities, senior care, long-term care, as well as in hospitality section, right? I mean, people use home textiles in hospitality section, and there are a lot of opportunities to bring technology, to bring new experiences there as well. And then finally, as the smart textile market grows, the parent company, well-versed in textiles, has the ability to make more of these components that can service the other companies who are bringing more smart textile components as well. We have a small team of about 7, 8 of us spread across the globe working on this thing, in addition to the support that we get from the parent company of Wellspun in terms of the product development and production. And we are located, as I said, all over the place. We do see Australia missing here, so that is part of the mission that I have as part of this, to see how we can work together with some technology partners who are interested in working with us on bringing technology and home textiles together, but also the Australian market. I mean, the previous speaker says it's like a high disposable income, which makes it ripe for it. I mean, the kids love this product, so if you've got kids, if you've got nieces, nephews, you could be the coolest uncle or aunt in your neighborhood. And particularly if you are grandparents, I mean, the kids would love you for that as well, right? And I would like to just close with this thing, like we intend to make it as ubiquitous as possible so that without knowing what's there, you start getting all of these experiences with textiles that you assume that they are there and did whatever they did, but a lot more than what it is now. Thank you.